The most populated country in Africa, Nigeria has become an untapped tourist paradise with long stretches of exotic beaches, lush mountains, well-preserved traditions, and culture enchanting tourist sites. Then we take a look from the spiritual shrines to the ancient city of the north, from the river deltas to the Yoruba kingdoms, the Igbo's stunning environments, and among many, simply pure sceneries. Nigeria leaves every visitor breathing hard with suspense and excitement.
Hello viewers, welcome to another exciting edition of the program, The Nigerian People and Culture. I am Dila Mangai. Well, on the program today, we'll be focusing more on tourism. Let's talk about tourism in Nigeria. Do we appreciate tourism in Nigeria? And if we do appreciate tourism, what can it do to our economy? On the program today, we'll bring you highlights of some tourist site attractions in Nigeria, and also we'll have some discussion segment with Professor E.S. Dendora. So stay tuned. The physical evidence of genius architectural designs and brainwork, coupled with the mysterious dynamism of natural ingenuity, have made Nigeria stand out in tourism potentials. Here are 10 awesome tourist attractions in Nigeria. We begin with the Ungwo Pine Forest. The unique forest dynasty that is found in Ungwo Pine is a huge draw for visitors, romantically set by Mother Nature with sharp twist for adventure seekers. It is located at Ungwo, Enugu State in Nigeria. We move to Ahum Waterfall. Ahum boasts of numerous immaculate lakes, waterfall, and a monastery. The waterfall forms beautiful scenery where water cascades over its top, forming a stream which has become a religious tourist site. It is located at Ahum, Enugu State. Obudu Mountain Resort. Above the sea level on the Oshe Ridge of the famous Sangwala Mountains sits majestically the Obudu Mountain Resort. The temperate climate, breathtaking views, idyllic tranquility, and beautiful scenery has made this resort one of the famous tourist sites in Nigeria. It is located in Obudu, Cross River State. The Osun Osogbo Grove. This is the only forest destination in Nigeria that has sacred shrines, sanctuaries, sculptures, and artwork that are created in the honor of the goddess of fertility. It is located in Osogbo, Osun State, Nigeria. We move to the Ogbonike Caves. Ogbonike Caves made an ideal tourist destination. These caves are closely associated with historical and spiritual significance. There are 317 steps to be used in order to descend down to the cave. It is located in Ogbonike, Anambra State in Nigeria. We talk about the Asian Nok settlement all over the world. The antiquities from the Asian Nok settlement are seen in galleries and museums. This little archaeologist heaven is located in Jaba local government. It was here that the terracotta figurine was discovered in the world. It is located in Jaba, Kaduna State. We move to the ancient Kano city walls. There is much more to the beautiful medieval city of Kano when you see the impressive ancient Kano wall. This 14-kilometer radius earth monument has a spiritual, cultural, and historical significance. It is associated with the Emir's Palace in Kano, Kano State, Nigeria. We move to the Yankari National Park in Bauchi State. The park is a home of wildlife in the state, South Central Park.
It houses a lot of natural warm water springs, and it is one of the West Africa eco destinations. The giant footprint of Ukose Oke in a sacred grove where prehistory meets the modern between a village called Okose Oke and Okose Osi lies this distinct footprint of a prehistorical giant that are embedded permanently on flat granite rocks. It is located in Owan, Edo State, South Nigeria. The Osun Sacred Grove, classified as one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. This sacred forest attracts a large number of tourists as it is definitely worth visiting. It is situated in the outskirts of Osogbo, the capital of Osun State, along the banks of the Osun River. Welcome to the segment, the interview segment, where we'll be talking more on tourism in Nigeria and how it harnesses the economy, how it could help to boost the Nigerian economy. And with me today to discuss this is Professor E. Sir?
It's a pleasure to be here, Mary.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Today on the program, we'll be looking at, we'll be talking about tourism. How, okay, let's begin this way. How have you seen tourism in Nigeria?
Well, essentially, tourism, when you take it from the very beginning, it has to do with somebody leaving his place of permanent abode to a temporary place for at least 24 hours or beyond that, and not as long as one, not beyond 12 months. If you look at the Nigerian situation, you would say that we have a lot of potentials as far as tourism is concerned. But the issue is most of them still remain as potentials. What needs to be done to activate the money from these potentials is still very far from being addressed.
Okay, so let's talk about maybe you name some tourist sites that you know in Nigeria.
Well, if you're talking about sites, Nigeria is blessed. Nigeria has one of the most amazing collection of sites. Whether you're talking of them as geographical location, you're even talking about ecotourism and all that, the potentials are there. We have even man-made sites like Tinapa. I was in Tinapa just 4 days ago. Unfortunately, it has fallen into disrepair now. You also can talk about, even in Cross River there too, Obudu is another one. You go to the northeast, you talk of Yankari. That is a natural reserve, which ordinarily is also supposed to be a money spinner for us. Even close here in Niger State, you can talk about the Gurara waterfalls. These are all major sites for tourism in Nigeria. Fortunately, there's still a lot more that needs to be done for these sites to really give the desired.
I'm sure you must have visited some of these places that
most of them.
You mentioned.
Yes.
Okay, how is the maintenance or development of these places like?
If you were in Obudu Cattle Ranch some 7 years back, you would know that that is one of the best tourist sites we have in Nigeria. Interesting collection of both scenic beauty and also in terms of the weather. The weather to me is just like what I experience each time I go to Manchester in the UK. You know, within the same day you can have very hot weather, very cold weather, you can have showers within the same day, changing that way. And I saw that also in Obudu. And I know that maybe 7 years back or more, we had series of conferences I was on some kind of sabbatical with the National Assembly between 2003 and 2007. And I do know that we scheduled also some of the orientation programs for new members and serving members of the National Assembly in Obudu. And it was indeed a place everybody wanted to go. But I returned there about a year ago. It is now in a very sorry state. It is the same issue you're talking about, maintenance. The other point is so much of this depends on government in Nigeria, unfortunately. And when you have a government that doesn't share the same vision with the one that established a particular project, you find some neglect coming in. You also find that if you do not have the same amount of passion driving the operators and those who manage those sites, when you have change of management, it becomes a problem. Even though Obudu, initially it was protein, it also changed management and things like that. So all these are issues that affect the state of our site. Passion, that's the first thing, and secondly, the political will from the side of government to provide the enabling environment. Take Obudu, for instance. The airstrip needs to be functional for them to have quality visitors, because if you're going to Obudu from Abuja, you're talking about not less than 7 or 8 hours drive if the road is good. Right. If the road is bad, then you're talking about maybe 3-4 more hours from that. You know, when Okiro was IG, I remember they had orientation for all the top police hierarchy, and I took some of our friends and friends of the police. We had to go by road, and it wasn't a very good thing for them. And that was at that time when the road was still not as bad as it is now. So maintenance is a problem. And when you consider that tourism is a composite business, it means that inputs must come in from different sectors. It is not a business that one person can manage. Different segments come into play in facilitating the satisfaction of the visitor, because tourism is all about the physical and psychological satisfaction that the visitor derives visiting the site or the new place he is visiting. So these are some of the problems, because we do not have a system in place in the country, unfortunately, in virtually all spheres of our existence. That absence of a system is what is affecting the proper functioning of the tourism.
For our viewers out there, what potentials does the place have to have for us to see it as a tourist site?
The first thing is it must have attraction. It could be man-made, it could be also something made by nature. It must be a place where people also are happy to be there. People should also have a sense of security. All these are some of the factors that go into the attractiveness of a tourist site. If you take, for instance, you move the best tourist site you can think of in the world at the moment to anywhere in the Northeast, because of the feeling of insecurity that people would have, you will see that that site cannot work. So it's not just about what it looks. When you talk about attractiveness, it's talking about the location, it's talking about also the feeling of security that the visitors have. Then the second A for me also has to do with accommodation. If a tourist must travel out of his natural abode to stay in a place for 24 hours or more, it means that he must have a good place to sleep. So that is also very important. Where he will stay is important to him. I, for one, if I visit a place, if I am to lodge in a hotel, the first place I look at is actually the convenience, how clean they are, before I even look at the sheets. It might be easy for me to compromise sanitation in some other places, maybe like the kitchen, for instance, because I must not eat there. But the room where we stay is important. So that is very important, accommodation. And then, of course, apart from accommodation and attractiveness, it must be accessible. and that has to do with the means of accessing the place. The roads have to be good. If they are flying, they also have to have a means of getting there conveniently without much hassles. The 3A's, I've talked about attractiveness, I've talked about accommodation and accessibility. But again, when you move on to look at some other components of what makes a tourism product, you will appreciate that a lot more work has to be done there. I talked about absence of a system. That system is important because all these different sectors must work together. The man who is coming to a tourist site will need to book his flight. He will need to arrive at the airport. So the way the immigration receive him is also important. It affects his impression of whether he's happy coming back tomorrow or not. The way the people drive on the road is also important. The warmth that he feels on arriving the venue, the kind of people he meets is also important. So you can see that these are not factors that are under control of one businessman. They are not under control of even government alone. You know, government provides infrastructure, and that's a major role where government must play. The telephones should be working because you do not want to be cut off from your family when you are out of your place of permanent abode. You also need to have good road. You must also expect that if you fall ill, there will be health facilities, and there should also be good food. So all these are factors that are considered when people decide where to visit or where to go for holiday or for whatever reason to travel out of their normal abode.
We're still here discussing about the tourism sector or tourism and the economy in Nigeria. Well, we'll be taking you to the street. Let's hear the opinions of people about tourism in Nigeria. We'll be right back. How do you see tourism in Nigeria?
Yeah, it's a nice thing. It's a nice idea, but we are not the tourist type in Nigeria.
Okay, do you feel that with our tourist sites are being developed enough for us to appreciate tourism?
Yes. Yeah, at least when you go to Cross River State, you will see a lot of avenue and a lot of good picture of tourism. Understand? The former governor of Cross River State, Mr. Donald Duke, has made us to see tourism in a very different aspect. So I think Cross River is one of the places you need to set as the first tourist state in Nigeria.
And what do you think tourism can do to our economy if we take it seriously?
If you go to other countries, like we here in Nigeria, we only depend on oil, and which is not supposed to be so. Understand? There are other countries that sustain through tourism. Understand? So when we make it a kind of lifestyle for ourselves, we will generate more economy, generate more funds, and it will be very, very economical in a way that we too can enjoy it. Understand? So sometimes when your children are on break, you need to take them to places so that they will get to see things. You understand? In Abuja here, you don't have anything to see. Understand? Because there's nowhere to go in Abuja. Understand? So I believe and I strongly know that when we add tourism to part of our lifestyle, it will generate enough revenue for us.
Yeah, they are really doing a really better when it comes to tourism now in Nigeria, because I watched the carnival that they did in Calabar, and the governor was really gallant, as it was impressive. But with his speech, the new atmosphere and a lot of good things that was going on there. As in, he was saying the tourism is going to bring about 2 billion naira avenue to them. So if I see other states can understand his pattern and move along with him, it will be a very, very lot thing to do.
Okay, so what do you think tourism can do to our economy?
You see, if the government can understand, it will be a lot of more improvements to our economies, because it's something that everybody wants to have, everybody wants to see. Somebody who is the nature itself. You understand? So if I will say, if government really wants to do a lot of things about it, it will go a long way to our economies.
Okay, how many tourist sites have you been to in Nigeria?
For now, I've not really gone to anyone.
Okay, but I'm sure you have seen pictures and videos of other places. Do you think that they are well developed for people to go there?
Yeah, I was even the one as of I told you of the Calabar Carnival. I'm even planning of spending my time there this year because I say they are really coming up in a good way.
I think presently Nigerians do not, or even if they do, they don't appreciate what they have. Most of them prefer to travel out to see their tourist attractions outside. But I feel we have a lot to offer in regards to tourism. I don't think government has really put in so much for tourism. I think presently Nigeria is mostly private sectors that do go into tourism, and what they make from it is just for themselves, not for the masses or for the government. So I think government should also put eye into it to make a lot from it. Of course, we have employment issues in this country. Trust me, it will bring forth employment opportunities for we youths, and generally it's we youths that are really into these tourist attractions. So it will surely bring job opportunities, and also it will bring international delegates to come to this country. And with those tourist attractions, they will get to see other things also that the country has to offer. So first of all, tourism will bring them to the country, and they will see other things the country has to offer. Okay, I've been to Abeokuta. Is it Abeokuta? There's this place. There's this Olumo Rock. I think that's like the only place I've been to, a tourist attraction I've been to in my life. When we got there, they showed us a picture of it some years back. I think to an extent they developed it, but I also heard that it's now private, it's not owned by the government. So you see, that's the problem we're having. Government is now giving everything to private sectors, and what they gain is just for themselves, not for the government. Government should take charge of our tourist attractions so that whatever we gain is for the country, not just for private sectors. Private sectors, that the money gotten from those tourist attractions now can just be used by one person. But when it's owned by the government, they will know how to share it or allocate it to different places where it will be used.
Tourism in Nigeria, with my own ratio presently in the world, is below average because it's not yet developed, and the issue with Nigerians is most things are being spoken on air without real development and implementation. Obutu Cattle Ranch, I've been to Obutu Cattle Ranch, I've been to so many tourist sites in Nigeria, but the issue is they are supposed to develop more, and you have to develop it in such a way that people in other parts of the country can visit Nigeria, and it will bring more development to the industry, and secondly, improve Nigeria economy. That is what we have been debating for over many years ago. But the issue is Nigerian government, because of the free flow of the oil money, they are not ready to diversify to a different economy, a different sector of the economy. But tourism in so many countries, like Dubai, like in Brazil, tourism has provided lots of money for them. And with more development, we have so many things that can bring money into this country, especially tourism. But this country, I think we need to sit down on the round table again and discuss it all over again.
It's high time we took the little potentials, other potentials, I won't say little, but other potentials that Nigeria has, and take our eyes off crude oil and try to develop something which is good for Nigeria, which is today we'll be looking at tourism. We could also look at festivals and carnival, but today
we're talking about tourism. On the program, we'll be introducing to you a segment where we take something about the Nigerian proverbs. We'll bring you different types of Nigerian proverbs from different parts of the country. So let's take one of it. Alright, thanks for staying with us on the program today, and this is where we draw the curtain for today's program. It's good that we've been able to talk about tourism, and I hope that both government and private sector look into this part of Nigerian heritage that could help in boosting the Nigerian economy. We hope that we pay attention to issues like this. Okay, from me and my crew, we say bye for now. I remain Dila Mangai.